It was Chidi who suggested they go together. Obinna had not expected that. He had planned to go alone, the way a man visits a grave, quietly, privately, carrying guilt like a coat he cannot remove. But on the sixth morning, Chidi appeared at the compound entrance while Obinna was preparing to leave, dressed and ready, without explanation. He simply stood there. Obinna looked at his son for a long moment. Then he nodded once. They walked in silence for 2 hours through red, dusty roads in dry Harmattan air, father and son, strangers learning to be something else. The distance between their shoulders slowly shrinking with every mile, though neither of them noticed. The grave was at the edge of a quiet village, beneath an old neem tree, a simple mound of red earth with a carved wooden marker. No grand monument, no wealth on display, just a name, Emeka Okafa, a man who lived with wisdom and died with dignity. Obinna stood before it and could not speak. 20 years of words, gratitude, reverence, grief, all of them rose together in his throat and locked there. He had rehearsed this moment in his mind 100 times on the journey home. He had prepared sentences. He had prepared prayers. But grief does not wait for preparation. His knees hit the red earth before he even decided to kneel. Chidi stood back and watched his father. This man he had hated, this man he was only beginning to understand, press his forehead to the red earth above his master's grave and weep like a child who has lost the only person who ever truly believed in him. It was the most honest thing Chidi had ever witnessed. After a long time, Obinna sat back on his knees, face wet, eyes red, and spoke directly to the grave. "You told me to wait," he said, voice breaking on every word. "You told me a man who cannot wait cannot be trusted. I almost did not listen." He stopped, swallowed. "I almost destroyed everything you spent years teaching me to protect." The neem tree swayed gently above them. "My son is here," Obinna continued, his voice dropping to almost nothing. "He walked with me today. He did not have to, but he came." He reached back without looking and found Chidi's arm, gripping it once, firm and brief. "That is because of you. Everything good that happened, that did not happen, is because of you." Chidi felt something break open in him completely. He knelt beside his father in the red earth, uninstructed, unprompted, and bowed his own head toward the grave of a man he had never met, a man who had saved his life without ever knowing he existed. They stayed like that for a very long time, 2 dark brown men kneeling side by side in red earth beneath a swaying neem tree, bound together by a dead man's wisdom and 20 years of roads neither of them chose. When they finally rose, Chidi looked at his father. "Tell me everything," he said quietly. "From the beginning, leave nothing out." Obinna looked at his son, at that jaw, those eyes, that stubbornness that was so completely his own it almost made him smile. Then he put his hand on his son for the very first time, and they began the long walk home. 3 weeks later, a widow named Mama Emeka opened her compound gate to find 2 men standing there, one older, one young, same jaw, same eyes. She looked at them for a long moment. Then she stepped aside and said, "He told me you would come."